All right, let's talk about security headers. For most of us, they're just another technical chore, right? Something that kind of lives at the bottom of the engineering backlog. But what if they're actually one of the most underrated ways to protect your company's bottom line? Today, we're going to dig into how these simple lines of code can act as a really powerful revenue shield.
And this is really the core question, isn't it? Do we treat security headers as just a compliance task, a box to check off to make some scanner happy? Or do we see them for what they really are, a powerful tool for preventing real, actual financial loss? We're going to make the case for the latter, for sure.
This really gets to the heart of it. The idea here is that headers are basically revenue protection controls, just hiding in plain sight. And this is such a powerful idea because it totally reframes a technical task into a value driver. It's all about stopping browser abuse before it becomes a support ticket, a fraud write-off, or, a late-night incident call.
So let's break down these two mindsets. The old way, just focusing on scanner scores, leads to what the source material calls compliance theater. I love that term. It looks like you're making progress, but it's exactly where costly incidents can still happen. The new mindset, though, sees headers as true revenue protection. And think about this. A strong security posture can actually speed up your sales cycle. When those big enterprise buyers see you take this stuff seriously, it builds a ton of confidence and just makes getting through those painful security questionnaires so much smoother.
Okay, so if we're all on board that headers are important, where in the world do we start? Well, lucky for us, the source provides a fantastic tool to prioritize everything, the header triage matrix.
This matrix is just brilliant because it forces a business conversation, not just a purely technical one. For each header, like HSTS, which forces secure connections, you weigh three things. What's the business impact if it's missing? How much friction or effort is there to implement it, and where does it fit in our timeline? This simple grid helps get security goals and financial reality on the same page by balancing risk, impact, and cost.
And the big takeaway here? It's all about focus. If your engineering time is limited, and let's be real, whose isn't? You start with Tier 1. That means you implement HTST to force those secure connections. You add X content type options to stop browsers from getting confused about file types, and you start content security policy in report-only mode. This gives you awesome visibility without actually breaking anything. This is your foundation for getting maximum risk reduction with manageable effort. All right, we've got a plan. Now, let's dig into the big wins. We'll start with the two highest impact headers, the ones that also require the most care: Content Security Policy and HTSS.
Content Security Policy, or CSP. This one, it's a beast. When you get it configured correctly, it is one of your absolute best defenses against attacks like cross-site scripting, where malicious code gets injected into your site and runs in your user's browser. But, and this is a big but, CSP has the highest upside and also the highest potential for major operational pain if you mess it up.
And this shows you the two faces of CSP perfectly. On one hand, it's a security powerhouse. On the other, a bad rollout can silently break the very tools that make you money: your payment widgets, your analytics, your support chats. The author actually shared this painful story of spending 11 hours untangling a bad rollout. It was a useful lesson, but as they put it, it was very expensive tuition. Ouch.
So how do you avoid all that pain? It comes down to one word: discipline. The source lays out a really clear three-step process. First things first, start in report-only mode. This lets you see what would break without, actually breaking it. Second, do the hard work of inventorying every single script and assigning an owner. And third, enforce the policy route by route, starting with your less critical pages. No big bang high-risk launches here. Okay, so if CSP is the high-stakes, high-reward header, HTST is its much calmer cousin. HTST, or HTTP Strict Transport Security, simply tells a browser, hey, from now on, only connect to my site using a secure, encrypted HTTPS connection. It's a low-drama, high-certainty win, but that doesn't mean you can just set it and forget it.
Look, the key with HSTS is you have to respect your legacy systems. You need to start with a small scope and then slowly increase the strictness over time. The biggest danger is that includes subdomains directive. If you just flip that on without a full inventory of every hostname you own, you could instantly break some old forgotten internal tool that doesn't use HTTPS. As the source says, this can convert hidden debt into visible outages, and it can do it fast.
All right, so you've done the hard work. You've rolled out your headers. Now for the really crucial part, proving the value.
How do you translate all this technical effort into a language the rest of the business actually understands, the language of revenue and ROI?
So what's this number? $32,400. This is the estimated quarterly avoided cost from a little calculator in the source material. And the formula is super simple. You just take your number of browser-related incidents, multiply it by the average cost of each one, and then apply your expected reduction from the new headers. And just like that, a technical project has a clear, compelling dollar value attached to it.
And this is how you build the story around that number. You create a simple chain of logic. You start with a technical metric, like, hey, we blocked 10,000 CSP violations. You connect that to an operational metric, like our incident frequency from script injections dropped by 30%. And then you finish with the executive narrative, which means our procurement velocity is up because we're passing security reviews faster. See, that's how you prove ROI.
Okay, before we wrap this up with an action plan, it's so important to look at what not to do. Let's cover the common mistakes that feel productive but actually just waste time and leave you exposed.
These are the classic traps, right? Copy-pasting a policy from a blog post without actually testing it on your user journeys? Shipping a huge change on a Friday afternoon? We've all been tempted, forgetting that those third-party scripts can change without any warning. But the crucial point here is that these aren't just technical mistakes. The source calls them something way more accurate: governance failures disguised as technical details.
All right, we've covered a lot: the why, the how, and the what not to do. Let's bring this all together into a concrete plan that you can literally start on this week.
Here are your first moves. And look, don't try to boil the ocean here. Just start by running a baseline scan on your most important pages, your top 20 revenue-critical URLs. Then, deploy the easy wins: a carefully scoped HTS policy, X-content type options, and frame protections. And finally, get CSP running in report-only mode and put a reminder on your calendar to review the results in 2 weeks. The goal here isn't a single perfect launch. It's all about controlled, measurable gains.
And this really brings us to our final crucial question. Is your security posture an asset that helps you win, or is it a hidden tax on your revenue, paid and maintenance and incidents? The case is pretty clear that with the right approach, security headers can be a strategic asset that protects your customers, your operations, and your bottom line. The choice, ultimately, is yours.